Hi, everyone. My name is David McLeod, and I am your life mastery coach and best-selling lead author of the brand new book, Gifts of Wisdom, Practices for Healing and Empowerment, which is now available on Amazon at the link below. Welcome to my chapter reading series for this book, in which you get to meet each author and listen in during a personal reading of that person's entire chapter from this amazing book. Today, my guest is Laina Orlando, a wise contributor of chapter 13. Laina Orlando is a modern-day sage who shares a refreshing and engaging perspective on spirituality. She's an awareness coach, author, founder of the Power of Awareness program, and director of the Awareness Academy. She is dedicated to helping others remember their God-given purpose to experience eternal life, total liberty, and happiness. Welcome, Laina, and thank you for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So excited to be here.
Yeah. So, well, you're one of my favorite people. You and I have known each other for a long time, and I was absolutely delighted when you said yes to come in and write a chapter for this book. But I'd like to know a little bit about what it was within you that invited you, that called you in, to which you said yes. What was it about this project that attracted your attention?
Two things. One, that it was you, and there's no way I was going to say no to you. And the other one is that I had just become a grandmother, and or maybe I was a few months away from becoming a grandmother when you first asked me to do this for the grandmother for the second time. And I just knew I want to contribute the wisdom that I have gleaned, if for nobody else, but for my grandchildren.
Right. And let's face it, our grandchildren are the important ones. I mean, our children are important too, but we don't really seem to appreciate them as much as we appreciate our grandchildren. I don't know if that's true for you, but I've sure noticed that for myself.
Yeah, I feel like I have even more of an impact with my grandkids than I did with my with my own children, because I relied so much on others, on the school system, just on others to help me with my kids. But with my grandkids, I'm 100% available for them in such an intimate way that what I say, what I do, I really feel that they're receiving it in a very different way than my kids did. Because my kids had a lot of resistance. My grandkids, so far, it's easy.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a dual thing there that happens. I mean, with kids, you're probably not as experienced with parenting. And certainly when the grandkids come along, you've got a lot more accumulated experience, which you can bring forth. So it makes a huge difference.
Oh, yes. With my grandbabies, I know when to stay quiet.
That's right. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about what it was that inspired you to write this chapter. How did you come to, I mean, you're going to read the chapter here in a minute, but I want to understand a little bit about your process and how you got here.
Well, this is a story, my story, about an experience that I had that transformed me. And this story is about the moment when I felt that I had an encounter of the best kind. I had an encounter with God, source, spirit, whatever anybody wants to call it. And I had a very intimate conversation. As Neil Donald Walsh wrote in his book, Conversations with God, I had my own conversation with God. And it was the single most life-changing experience that I've ever had. I am still learning from it almost 20 years later. It's still unfolding, unpacking for me. So if there was something that I was going to leave for my grandchildren, that was the most important thing that happened to me, it would be that encounter, because that story shifted my way of perceiving life. It began to alter how I was showing up. It gave me permission to be more, to become as authentic as I could possibly be. And it allowed me to recognize that we're all born perfect, whole, and complete. So if I was going to leave my grandchildren a story, it would be that story. They are born whole, perfect, and complete. So they might as well start from the beginning, knowing this truth about them and not have to wait 40 some odd years as I did to hear
That's
that
right.
story.
Right. That's beautiful. It sounds absolutely amazing. And obviously, it is a real gift of wisdom that you are sharing. So, without any further delay, let me invite you to read your chapter. And so, I'm going to ask everybody, please just pay attention, give full attention to Laina Orlando now as she reads chapter 13, The Power of Oneness, Living from Love and Transforming Relationships.
My story. I don't know what I've gotten myself into, but I expect it to be magnificent. What felt like my body was pulsing with aliveness. I was caught in the rhythm of a precise in-breath as all that surrounded me, the planets and the cosmos, collapsed into a stream of breath that filled me up and swallowed me. All that remained was pure stillness. Immediately after the ding-dong, Jan welcomed me into her home. Although we met once before, I didn't know what to expect for my first energy healing session. Jan's home was charming, and I felt entirely at ease as I followed her to the healing room in the basement. Now, 5 years into my healing journey, I've tried many healing modalities, such as psychic healers, inner child healing workshops, rebirthing processes, power animal journeys, shamanic journeys, lots of therapy, and many other experiences, each offering me a unique piece of my healing puzzle. I was excited to experience my first energy healing session, sure that I'd find another puzzle piece. Jan pointed to her healing table. "Please remove your shoes and lie on your back," she said, and I felt excitement, curiosity, and deep trust. I can't wait to start. I settled onto the table as Jan gently placed one of her handmade quilts over my legs. "Close your eyes," she said, once she sensed I was ready for the session. She began her process by standing by my head and asking permission to enter my energy field. Her gentle energy entering my field felt like a cool river flowing into the body of a warm lake. No longer sensing my body as solid, I relaxed and opened myself to receive. I entered a new realm of awareness I'd read about, but now was starting to experience. I relaxed deeper on the table. Here I go. But where to? Within minutes, tears began to fill my eyes. And when the first teardrops rolled down my cheek, I knew my life would never be the same. As my hands touched the table, I felt my body levitating several inches from it. I sensed the outline of my body, but it was now fluid and light as a feather. I was both the observer and the participant. This is fascinating. I saw my body lifting as my head and shoulders became vertical, while my feet remained inches from the table. I was now completely upright. As I traveled through a warm, milky mixture of never-ending darkness, I lost awareness of Jan's presence. Although my physical eyes were closed, I saw what I was sensing with precise details. A point of light appeared in the distance. With my gaze fixed on the approaching light, I felt the same pure love as when my newborn children were placed in my waiting arms. This love was richer, familiar, and unfamiliar simultaneously. As the presence came closer, its hands came forward to hold mine. I couldn't make out the face because the light emanating from this being was blinding. As the face emerged, my giddy inner 8-year-old recognized the approaching presence of Jesus because of my Catholic upbringing. As the being of light moved closer, I felt a loving paternal energy surround me. and the essence of Jesus gave way to the presence of Mother, Father, God. Although I was not religious, meeting God was lovely. I was completely present in the experience as my five senses took in the sweet smell of family, the soothing sound of joy, the mesmerizing sight of love, the rich feel of eternity, and the delicious taste of peace. Then a sixth sense kicked in, and I experienced melding with the light. Suddenly, there was only oneness. Yet I, my separate sense of self, was still present, knowing there was no I, only the oneness of isness. I began accessing deep, ageless knowing as everything about life and the universe came rushing into my awareness, and all made sense. I was immediately drawn to a snake-like slithering ray of light moving up each of my legs. Wow. This light was alive and flowing toward my pelvis, coiling and filling my abdomen, lighting each chakra. The light paused at my heart chakra, reminding me, it's time to remove all the obstacles you've built. And remember, I am love and light. The light was warm and thick like molasses as it moved from the throat chakra to the third eye and my crown chakra. I was then raptured into a swirl of energy from which flashes burst forth, instantaneously exploding into all that is. I observed everything manifesting as the light of my essence became every galaxy, every sun, moon, planet, and every star in the heavens. The visual shifted from the planets to the surface of mountains, valleys, oceans, lakes, and rivers, and I was each of them. Next, I was every person, plant, animal, blade of grass, and grain of sand. My vision was then drawn into every physical body, allowing me to know myself as the lungs, heart, ears, skin, veins, muscles, and smallest of cells and the tiniest of atoms. I am all that I am. As I drank in the knowledge that I, and so are you, are the within and the without, the above and the below, the Alpha and the Omega, I experienced the power inherent in oneness. At that moment, I felt humbled by my smallness while experiencing the peace and certainty of being the grandeur and infinitude of creation. What felt like my body was pulsing with aliveness. I was caught in the rhythm of precise in-breath as all that surrounded me, the planets and the cosmos, collapsed into a stream of breath that filled me up and swallowed me. All that remained was pure stillness. Then the exhale birthed all creation out of that stillness, and all that is was placed in its perfect and precise place. Like clockwork, the rhythm continued. Breathe in, breathe out. Every fiber of my eternal being was pulsing with the breath of life. I felt the power of eternal life that made death impossible. I felt the expansive and peaceful pulse of infinity. Then the unspoken dialogue began. Dear God, since we are one, why are we taught that you are on a cloud somewhere far away and that we must jump through hoops to get close to you? God replied, my love, you are playing a divine game of hide and seek. Oneness must appear separate so we can pretend to hide and seek each other. How else could we experience the joy of knowing each other? But God, why must this game include sadness and fear and often be painful? My love, it doesn't have to be, but because you and every one of your brothers and sisters are creators of your reality, you can each experience every frequency of the love and the light that you are, including its absence. When you are playing hide and seek with the awareness that you are the love and light of all that is, you experience joy, peace, and compassion for all beings. This is when you're vibing high and closest to your true nature. However, when you forget what you are by blocking the truth from your awareness with thoughts such as, I am not lovable, I am separate from others, or I am not enough, you automatically feel uncomfortable, tight, tense, small, dense, and alone. This contracted feeling was designed as the wake-up call in the game. But over many lifetimes, you have accepted the contraction as normal and made uptightness a thing. While you pretend to be separate in the game, most of you enter competitions for resources and play another game called haves and have-nots, which makes you believe in lack and limitation, that gives rise to lying and stealing, cheating, and hoarding. Because you have been playing like this for so long, you have forgotten that it's just a game, and you act as if separation is real. But as you start experiencing oneness, you realize life often felt like a nightmare while you were unaware of your power. It all makes sense now, God. You are so right, my love. God, why did you wait until I was 42 to start waking me up? My love, I was honoring your free will. You wanted to experience being deep in the dream by feeling abandoned by your parents, experiencing confusion about God and creation inherent in religion, and having a few marriages, kids, and several careers as your reality. You also wanted to experience external authorities. So you idolized your parents, the government, the bosses, and media personalities. You wanted to experience how it felt to trade your self-worth for the thrill of accumulating a net worth. And when you felt ready to leave the dream behind, the dismantling of the illusion of separation began with your mother's untimely death. But that was 5 years ago, God. Why is it still so tricky to wake up? My love, fully waking is only tricky because you decided that what is solid and can be touched and seen is real, and what you can't see or touch is not. Because everything is made of energy, you must go through a process of detaching from what you have come to believe is solid. And this is often painful because it is perceived as loss. The only reason you felt the meld with all that is, me, is because all that is my energy, and you is that. Ha, God, you are funny. Are more of us going to start waking up? After all, things are getting crazier on this planet. Well, my love, yes and no. Yes, because many of those experiencing the seeming separation have tired of being in hiding for many lifetimes. They are ready to be found and come out from behind the trees where they've been hiding. And no, because many still enjoy the game with low frequencies inherent when one chooses to hide their light. The trick to awakening is to become courageous enough to feel the discomfort created by low frequency thoughts and behaviors, whether they are called sadness, anger, guilt, or jealousy, and welcome the discomfort of the wake-up calls. Every time one of my children feels off and uses it as a sign to look inward, they become willing to see their beliefs about themselves and others that make them contract. By doing this, they can transform the shadowy lie into the light of truth that leads, that heals, and frees them to live joyously and abundantly. As each of my children awaken, they no longer hide and become the torchbearers guiding their brothers and sisters out of the dense and dark hiding places. This is what being the light of the world means. Dear God, that doesn't seem like a fun game. So why would anyone choose to play it? Well, my love, as I said, you are the creators of your reality and enjoy adventures. Just as you did as a child, you played many games, some painful, some like falling off of the trampoline or getting burnt playing with fire. Each time you stop to review the games and their rules, you learn from your experiences and often revise the games if you desire a happier outcome. If you don't take time to go within and contemplate the game and its consequences, you don't learn from it. So you repeat the process, hoping for different results. You call that insanity, and rightfully so. Oh, dear God, how can we awaken sooner? Well, my love, this is why you are having this experience now, to remember the truth of creation by experiencing the awakening of your sleeping self, a process that may take another 20 years to complete. Once you remember that everyone is playing a game, you will lighten up for the game's duration. You will learn and advance as you teach what I guide you to remember. One day you will learn from the very youngest to become like a little child. So those who are ready, and many will be in 20 years, will co-create a happy dream on planet Earth. God, why 20 years? My love, because your planet is shifting into a new age that requires those who want to up-level their game to live consistently from the higher frequency of love. Because of your free will, everyone must choose love over fear, so the illusion of separation can give way to conscious co-creation. Over the next 20 years, those choosing awakening will activate their light, illuminating the planet so all still hiding can see the consequences of their choices and choose again. God, it sounds like the way to wake up is to become humble enough to realize that what we thought was true might not be. Yes, my love, the truth will set you free when you humbly realize your thoughts are made up of the lies you believe and release yourself from them by choosing the truth. You will quickly realize that you are playing a game of hide and seek with your mind, and that you have the power to untether yourself from the shadowy lies that make you feel small, dense, and powerless. Then you will begin to free your light and live as the creators you are. God, I am grateful for this wake-up call. I love you. My love, I love you more. Tears flowed as I realized the oneness I experienced was our true reality. This truth has become a steady, loving pulse within me, reminding me daily that I am the creator of my reality. I took my time wiggling my toes and feeling my body's weight on the table. The look on Jan's sweet face let me know she sensed I had a profound experience. She doesn't know the half of it. Even if I told her, would she believe it? Although I experienced a clear knowing of everything, my egoic mind created a fair amount of doubt and confusion for many years afterward. Because I trusted what I experienced, I put the tools I received into practice and began to transform. Although I am still a work in progress, I am constantly reminded that if I can do it, anyone can, including you. Whether you're a person in midlife or a wise elder, I shared my most profound experience with you. I hope my story activates within you a memory of who you really are, an adventurous old soul like me. The practice. The shift and lift practice. Awakening is not a one and done process, but a practice that takes a lifetime to master. For this reason, give yourself some grace if you believe that you have begun to awaken, but still feel the egoic tendency to need to be right, judgmental, fearful, and guilty. I received these 4 simple steps shortly before my meld with all that is, and can assure you that although I began practicing shifting and lifting from fear to love in 2007, I still use these steps daily. The secret to succeeding with this practice is to do the steps exactly as they are listed and not be tempted to allow your ego to alter them. Select a comfortable, quiet space for this practice and take a journal and pen or pencil. Remember that this is a powerful tool and express gratitude for your willingness to do this deep inner work. Here we go. Everything starts with, first, awareness. Contemplate your life and scan your thoughts. Notice and write down a person, place, or situation you wish was different. Acknowledge that you believe you'd feel better if that person, place, or situation changed. The ego always tricks us into believing others control our feelings, which is one way we give up our power. Second, acceptance. Please answer with a simple yes or no. Do you believe you can change what is or what has already happened? Radical honesty is key here. Third, it's time to shift and lift. You may feel awkward the first few times you do this step, especially if you do it exactly as instructed. Read what you wrote in step 1 and then notice the feelings and emotions that arise. Circle the 5 that best match your feelings under the fear column. Be gentle with yourself if your feelings get intense. Next, under the love column, circle the items directly opposite the fear items you circled. Looking at each item you circled, scan your body and notice how you feel. Does your body feel at ease, peaceful and light, or tightened, tense, and dense? My body feels blank. My body feels blank. Your body never lies because it is neutral. When you perceive life from love, we feel connection and oneness. When we perceive life from fear, we feel separation and disconnected. Fourth, I am powerful and decide how I experience life. Complete these statements and note what arises in your journal. When I perceive what is with blank, that person, place, or situation, with love, I feel at ease, peaceful, and light, which causes me to experience connection. When I perceive what is with that person, place, or situation with fear, I feel tight, tense, and dense, which causes me to experience separation. The key to this practice is recognizing that when you perceive any person, place, or situation with fear, your ego is involved and will always cause separation because the game of life is being played unconsciously. However, when you perceive any person, place, or situation with love, your soul spirit is involved and will always cause connection because the game of life is being played consciously. It's time to forgive yourself for forgetting that only you can decide what to believe about anything. You have free will and ultimately control what you choose to believe. Your beliefs and perceptions always affect your feelings, creating your life experience. This practice will help you become more self-aware, which can often feel uncomfortable. If you're committed to awakening, you'll welcome the discomfort as a sign that you are shifting and lifting into a higher frequency, which is how transformations happens in relationships, first with yourself, begin to heal and transform. Now breathe. You did great.
Oh, what a beautiful chapter. And that whole experience that you described, that conversation with God, that was just absolutely delightful. Um, Yeah, I could feel my body just tingling as I was listening to your reading of that, and I can only imagine what kind of an experience that was for you. Um,
Well, to say the least, I was in a heightened state of ecstasy for probably a couple of weeks. But I was a mom with 3 kids at home, and I had to drive kids through carpool and make their lunches and pick them up. And I
mhm,
was working full time. I was also involved with the PTA and the Homeowners Association and so many things. So it didn't take long for my egoic self to that sense of separation and contraction to kick in and move out
right,
of being one with all that is back into my little life. So it took me a while to move out of a place of confusion. Did I make this up? Am I deluded? What is it that happened to? No, I felt it. I heard it. I know it. I wrote it down in my journal as
right.
soon as I could. So it was quite the experience. And it's been almost, 17 years since that happened. It happened in 2007. David, till this day, I am still unpacking what was given to me. It is
I know. Yeah.
layers and
I'm
layers and layers.
totally I'm totally resonating with what you're saying. I've had a similar experience in my own life, so I know exactly what you're talking about. And but I just want to say thank you for sharing that, and that whole idea of shift and lift. That's beautiful too. I mean, very very simple process, but very powerful. And all people have to do is just basically follow the steps in the chapter, and they can get the benefit of exactly the same process. I mean, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and we had a limit of what we could write, and there was one part I couldn't include in there because we were cutting things out. But one piece that I couldn't include that I want to share is that there was a time that I said, I asked God, I said, how am I going to know when I've arrived to this place called enlightenment, or that I'm really fully awake? And God said, my love, life will be fun and easy. And I just went, you got to be kidding me. Have you been down there? Have you not seen what's going on in this world? How can everything be fun and easy? And I was told, just as very matter of fact, if you are living authentically, your life will be fun. If
Hmm.
you are listening to the guidance within, the path will be easy. It just unfolds. And
Right,
from that moment on, life is fun and easy has been my mantra. And it's what I want to, as I aspire to live from. And I have noticed when I shift and lift into that higher frequency, when I'm operating with gentleness and kindness and honesty and integrity, and I'm open minded and I'm tolerant with others, things really are way more fun because nobody
that's
has to
right.
protect and defend and attack. It really is a lot of fun. In collaboration, there's just so much joy, and things happen with ease because I'm listening to guidance and I'm told, go here, go there. I never thought I was going to move to Colorado, but when my daughter posed that as an option, I heard inside, "Yep, that's where you're headed." And I thought, "Okay, let's do it." It was so easy. Everything began to unfold. The whole leaving my life behind in Georgia and moving to Colorado and getting rid of most everything that I own, just really letting go of those material things that we
Right.
become
Hmm.
possessive of. Everything unfolded with fun. Everything unfolded with ease. Were there bumps in the road? Were there things that happened? Yes. But when you encounter life's challenges as opportunities to practice shifting and lifting and looking at it from a higher vibe, you can get through anything. It's just amazing. You can get through anything. So I'm so
Beautiful.
grateful. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Lina. So there you go, folks. You know, if all you got to do is just live from a place of authenticity and shift and lift, and you can find life fun and easy. It's just a practice, and ultimately it boils down to a choice. So I'd just like to thank you again, Laina, and remind everybody this is just another one of the amazing, beautiful examples of some of the fantastic and inspiring material that's available in our brand new book, Gifts of Wisdom. And if you haven't already purchased a copy, or if you'd like to consider giving one to some of your friends or whatever, then please head over to our Amazon book page. The link is in the screen below. Also, if you'd like to connect with Laina Orlando directly, please reach out to her on her website at https://lainaorlando.com. I've included that link on the screen below as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope to see you again in one of the other chapter readings down the road. Meanwhile, love, light, and blessings on your continuing journey. Bye-bye for now.